for orderly procedure, we usually allow questions in accordance of arrival. And then, but before that, we will also give priority to the officers of the Senate. Before we call all the agencies to present, may I ask the committee secretary to read the record, for the record, the agency representatives who will present their budget for the committee's consideration.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Your Honors, and to all our guests. Allow me to introduce our resource persons present in today's budget briefing. To our resource persons, if your name is called, please raise your hand so the chairperson can identify where you are seated. Thank you. From the National Economic and Development Authority, Secretary Arsenio M. Balisacan. With him is Undersecretary Melbourne Zero D. Pana, Assistant Secretary Reynaldo R. Cancio, Undersecretary Joseph G. Capuno, Undersecretary Carlos Bernardo O. Abad Santos. From the Commission on Population and Development, Executive Director Lisa Grace S. Bersales. From the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, President Aniceta C. Orbeta Jr. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, National Statistician Claire Denise S. Mapa. From the Tariff Commission, Chairperson Marilu P. Mendoza. From the Philippine Statistical Research and Training Institute, Executive Director Josefina V. Almeda. From the Philippine National Volunteer Service Coordinating Agency, Chief Volunteer Service Officer Ms. Ella Victoria F. Sarmago. From the Development Academy of the Philippines, President CEO Maha Lea V. Rabago. We also have representatives from the DBM, Acting Chief Evita Fontanilla. That is all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. May we now begin with our department presentation?
Madam Chair, and the honorable members of the Senate Committee on Finance who will be joining us, fellow members, workers in government, good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity to present the proposed budget of the National Economic and Development Authority and its attached agencies for fiscal year 2025. Can we have the next screen, please? Shown on the screen is the order of our presentation. Allow me to begin with NEDA's vision and mission. NEDA, as the government's premier socioeconomic planning and policy oversight body, envisions the country where public and private sectors perform their respective roles efficiently, such that people have equal access to opportunities, resulting in inclusive development and zero poverty. NEDA's mission is to formulate continuing, coordinated, and fully integrated socioeconomic policies, plans, and programs. In fulfilling its missions, the following are NEDA's key accomplishments for 2023 and for the first half of 2024. As a planning, policy formulation, and coordination agency, NEDA's most or major accomplishments include the preparation and formulation of several key planning documents, foremost of which is the Philippine Development Report and Regional Development Reports for fiscal year 2023. These documents provide a comprehensive overview of our national and regional progress in implementing the Philippine Development Plan and Regional Development Plans for the period 2023 to 2028. As a policy advisor, NEDA regularly submits policy recommendations, inputs, and reports to the executive and legislative branches of our government. NEDA, in coordination with other government agencies, spearheaded the formulation of the bills and the Public-Private Partnership Code, the Department of Water Resources, the Blue Economy, and the Open Access in Data Transmission, also known as Konektadong Pinoy Act, bills on the President's legislative agenda. We also led the formulation of the IRs of several laws, including the PPP Code and the Trabajo para sa Bayan Act. NEDA also completed major sectoral documents and plans, such as the National Innovation Agenda and Strategy Document 2023 to 2032, the El Nino National Action Plan, and the Rehabilitation and Recovery Plans for Calabarzon, Western Visayas, Cordillera, Northern Mindanao, and Ilocos region. As a key agency involved in investment programming at the national and regional levels, NEDA formulated the Public Investment Program 2023 to 2028, the Regional Development and Investment Programs, or RDIPs, the 3-year Rolling Infrastructure Program, or TRIP, and the list of infrastructure flagship projects, or IFPs, under the Build Better More program. As of the second quarter of 2024, the list of 186 IFPs are now worth a total of value of about 9.6 trillion pesos. NEDA also organized the first regional national investment programming dialogue that brought together agency, central offices, and regional development councils to address the gap between priorities of national government agencies as outlined in the PIP and those of the regional line agencies as is specified in the regional development investment programs. The first PIP RNIP linkage workshop was likewise conducted in preparation for the second RNIP dialogue conducted last month. The agency has also been instrumental in pushing for greater efficiency in the appraisal, approval, and implementation of major infrastructure projects. In coordination with DOF and PPP Center, NEDA revised the Investment Coordination Committee guidelines for PPP projects. NEDA, in coordination with ARTA, also prepared the guidelines for the implementation of EO number 59, series of 2024, and streamlining the permitting process for IFPs. With respect to monitoring and evaluation, NEDA submitted the 2023 Official Development Assistance or ODA Portfolio Review Report to Congress. The active ODA portfolio of the Philippines in 2023 amounted to $37.29 billion US. It consisted of 113 loans totaling $35.07 billion US and 325 grants worth $2.22 billion. NEDA launched the IFP dashboard to further enhance public sector efficiency, transparency, and accountability in the country's infrastructure drive. The dashboard is accessible to both implementing agencies and the general public and enables them to track the progress of the IFPs. NEDA reports quarterly to the NEDA board led by the president so that implementation bottlenecks are addressed. Further, NEDA completed 2 evaluation studies under the auspices of the NEDA UNDP Strategic M&E project. These are first the evaluation of the implementation of alternative work arrangements in selected government agencies and LGUs in the NCR, and 2, summative evaluation of the National Evaluation Policy Framework. Madam Chair, let me also highlight the accomplishments of the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or the LEDAC, where NEDA serves as the secretariat that helps shepherd the reforms that aim to ensure the sustainability and inclusivity of our country's economic growth. Its major accomplishment is the approval and adoption of the LEDAC Common Legislative Agenda, or CLA, which includes 28 priority legislative measures for passage before the end of the 19th Congress. We thank the Senate for its commitment and hard work in making sure that these priority bills are passed on time. As shown on this slide, LEDAC shepherded the enactment of 15 bills, 8 in 2023 and 7 as of June 30, 2024. The following slides show the major accomplishment of NEDA's attached agencies. Broadly, the key initiatives, programs, and projects of our attached agencies are aligned with the President's socioeconomic agenda, complementing or synergizing with the efforts of NEDA and the wider bureaucracy as we carry out the strategies contained in the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. Let me start with the Philippine Statistics Authority. PSA's major accomplishments include the continuing implementation of the Philippine Identification System or PhilSys. As of July 12, 2024, the PSA registered 88.72 million Filipinos in the PhilSys and delivered 52.5 million physical PhilIDs and 45.7 million e-PhilIDs. The PSA also kicked off the 2024 Census of Population and Community-Based Monitoring System or Monitoring System, Household and Institutional Data Collection, and Geotagging. In addition, the provincial product accounts were generated for all provinces and highly urbanized cities. The PSA also conducted turnover ceremonies of the 2022 CBMS data and its review and assessment. The PSA also generated and released major socioeconomic statistics such as inflation, labor force indicators, national income accounts, and family income and expenditure data that help inform and shape public policies. Other accomplishments of the PSA include the conduct of the 2022 Census of Agriculture and Fisheries, the formulation of the Philippine Statistical Development Program 2023 to 2029, and the operationalization of 70 civil registration services or CRS outlets. As of the end of the first half of 2024, a total of 9.25 million civil registry documents were processed. One of the PPP Center's key accomplishments is the addition of 14 new projects in the PPP pipelines. It also advocated for the adoption, approval of 8 PPP issuances and related policy instruments, including the PPP Code IRR. Meanwhile, the Tariff Commission issued 1,492 advance rulings on tariff classification and 42 dispute rulings from 2023 to June 2024. The Tariff Commission also completed a comprehensive review of the Most Favored Nation or FMN tariff schedule to set the 2024 to 2028 MFN tariff schedule. One of the key accomplishments of the Commission on Population and Development or CPD is the President's approval of the Philippine Population and Development Plan of Action for 2023 to 2028 through Memorandum Circular Number 40, Series of 2023. In addition, a total of 1,500 adolescent mothers benefited and were enabled through the Social Protection Program for adolescent mothers and their children. The CPD also provided technical assistance and capacitated 55.2% of relevant national regional institutions and LGUs to significantly reduce unmet need for family planning. As for the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, or PIDS, it completed 50 studies in 2023 These studies offer crucial inputs that are aligned with the government's 8-point socioeconomic agenda, particularly in the areas of economic development and macroeconomic fundamentals, food security, education, social welfare, labor market, R&D and innovation, digital economy, and sustainable development. These also offer evidence-based perspectives that could help the government realize its goals and objectives articulated in the PDP. In the first half of 2024, PIDS completed 7 research studies focusing on areas of women's empowerment, early childhood care, governance, and policy implementation. 8 policy notes were also released for the Second Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM-2. Next, the Philippine National Volunteer Service Coordinating Agency facilitated the clearance and deployment of 223 international volunteers to development projects across the country and 79 Filipino volunteers overseas to provide support in the development process. It also monitored the engagement of 29,852 local volunteers to assist in the implementation of programs of various governments and non-governmental organizations. Meanwhile, the PSRTI conducted 85 various training courses on statistics. And lastly, but not the least, the Development Academy of the Philippines trained 870 government managers, executives, and legislative officers and staffs through its education, training, and capacity building seminars, public management development program, local government executives and managers class, and capacity building and innovation leadership for legislative staff. It also provided technical assistance to 258 beneficiary agencies on the development, expansion, and harmonization of QMS, strengthening risk management capability, and SQI and capacity building interventions on QMS. Before I turn to our budget proposal for fiscal year 2025, Madam Chair, let me first discuss NEDA's financial performance for fiscal year 2023 and first semester of this year. As of December 31, 2023, NEDA and its attached agencies were able to obligate 14.97 billion pesos or 86.9% of its total allotment of 17.22 billion pesos. On the other hand, of the obligated amount, a total amount of 11.87 billion pesos or 79.3% was disbursed. Shown on this slide is the financial performance for fiscal year 2023 by agency. As of June 30, 2024, NEDA and its attached agencies were able to obligate 48.93% of the 2024 budget. Of the obligated amount, 72.3% has been disbursed. Shown on the table is on the slide is the financial performance as of June 2024 by agency. Madam Chair, our budget proposal for fiscal year 2025 is framed by our agency trust and priorities. The initiatives contained in this slide are at the core of NEDA's policy advisory and coordination, as well as investment programming functions at the national and regional levels of economic governance. Some of these priorities aim to further enhance NEDA's ability to deliver on its mandate, ensuring that while it's not an implementing agency, it is better able to help steer and coordinate government and stakeholder efforts toward greater efficiency and effectivity. Let me now discuss the details of the proposed budget for NEDA and its attached agencies for fiscal year 2025. Our total proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 is 13.21 billion pesos, a marginal increase from our fiscal year 2024 GA budget of 13.19 billion pesos. That increase, Madam Chair, is slower than the inflation rate for the year. This slide, the next slide, shows the breakdown of our proposed 2025 budget by allotment class. The maintenance and other operating expenses, or MOE, has the biggest chunk, amounting to 8.33 billion pesos, or 63% of the total proposed budget. The personal services amounts to 3.28 billion pesos, or 25% of the total budget, while the remaining 1.61 billion pesos, or 12%, is for capital outlay. The next slide shows the breakdown of our proposed budget by appropriation source. 97.98%, or 12.95 billion pesos, is appropriated to the agency's specific budget. 1.96%, or 259.05 million pesos, is appropriated under automatic appropriations for the payment of retirement and life insurance premium, while the remaining 0.06%, or 8.2 million pesos, is appropriated to the special accounts in the General Fund for the Tariff Commission's Remedies Fund and Philippine Statistical Research and Training Institute's Endowment Fund. The next slide shows the breakdown of our proposed budget by agency. Historically, PSA gets the lion's share among the NEDA family budget. For fiscal year 2025, PSA's proposed budget is 8.67 billion pesos, or 65.58% of our total budget. NEDA OSEC's budget amounts to 2.82 billion pesos, or 20.37%. The remaining 1.72 billion, or 30.05%, is shared by the rest of our 7 attached agencies. Shown on the next screen is the comparison of NEDA's budget based on the 2024 GAA and the 2025 NEP. First, for PSA, the decrease is due to the completion of census operations for PAPSEN and CBMS this year. The budget for the said project in 2025 will be allocated to remaining activities such as data processing and dissemination. Next, bulk of the increase in NEDA OSEC's budget is for the construction and improvement of buildings for NEDA central and regional offices, as well as ICT requirements. For CPD, the decrease is due to the non-inclusion of non-recurring items in capital outlay. While for PIDS, the slight increase is attributable to additional funding for its rent expense and for the conduct of the assessment of the DepEd's Matatag K or K-10 curriculum pilot implementation. For PPP Center, the budget increment will cover the operational requirements for its expanded mandate under the new PPP code. As for the Tariff Commission, the increase is attributable to allocations for ICT projects, enhancing trade facilitation and office productivity. Meanwhile, the increase in PSRTI's budget is due to its LGU Technical Assistance Program and the Senate Economic Planning Office Ladderized Capacity Building Program. For PNVSCA, The decrease is due to the one-time inclusion of volunteer work survey in the labor force survey conducted in 2024. And lastly, Madam Chair, for DAP, the reduced budget allocation is due to the decrease in funding for its education and training programs and research and technical assistance and public sector productivity program. For the last part of our presentation, allow me to highlight some of the features of our proposed budget. This slide shows the big ticket proposals of NEDA and its attached agencies. For 2025, the Philippine Identification System of PSA aims for 98 million cumulative registration, which includes newborns linked with their birth registration, 76 million PhilID delivery, 51 million printed e-PhilID issuance, and upgrade of PhilSys infrastructure. Another important undertaking of the PSA in 2025 is the development or enhancement of the design of statistical frame integrating geospatial information, which pertains to the integration of statistical and geospatial information taken from the conduct of geotagging of building structures to form digital building footprints. For the census of population and housing, PSA proposed an amount of 597 million, while for the Family Income and Expenditure Survey, which is conducted every 3 years, there is a proposed budget of 324 million. Majority of the PSA budget for the generation, compilation of community-based statistics will be utilized for the presentation of preliminary results and data turnover of the 2024 PAPSEN CBMS data and technical assistance to LGUs, which will implement the CBMS. PIDS Socioeconomic Policy Research Program has a total allotment of 199 million pesos, which is intended to be used for conducting in-house research studies, including the assessment of DepEd's Matatag K-10 curriculum pilot implementation. Pursuant to the Philippine Innovation Act, NEDA proposed an amount of 158 million pesos for the provision of innovation grants, conduct of the National Regional Innovation Awards and competition, and the conduct of the National Innovation Day. NEDA and its attached agencies would like to extend our sincerest thanks and appreciation to our legislators whose constant support for our programs have allowed us to faithfully carry out our mandate last year as in previous years. Now we once again ask for your support as we pursue strategic initiatives that align with the priorities under the Philippine Development Plan, seek to sustain the momentum driving our country's progress, and work hard to progressively realize President Marcos' vision of a bagong Pilipinas. This ends my presentation, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, I'll get all my questions out of the way and hopefully we can adjourn before somebody arrives because anyway, all of these things will be asked during plenary. So keep your answers concise. Okay, you have a poverty threshold for a family of 5 at around 13,873 pesos per month. That's 92 pesos per person per day. Okay, so that's for the poverty threshold. And then for the food threshold, for a family of 5, that's 9,581 pesos per month or 64 pesos per person per day or 21 pesos per meal. Okay, so this has been your basis to be able to compute the total poverty level or poverty threshold in the Philippines. And a lot are saying that this is actually unreasonable. Hindi po makototohanan itong sinasabi ninyo na 21 pesos per meal lamang bawat tao, araw-araw, at 92 pesos per day para sa kabuuang pangangailangan nito. Yung kanilang tinitirhan, yung kanilang transportasyon, at kung ano pang pangangailangan nila sa kalusugan nila. So paano tayo maniniwala doon sa sinasabi ng NEDA na bumaba na yung poverty rate natin kung ito ang computasyon ninyo? What is your computation of the poverty rate in the Philippines? Ano yung percentage natin?
The latest is 15.5% of our population are deemed poor based on those poverty lines.
15%?
15.5.
15.5%. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if we were to adjust this to a realistic level, first of all, who came up with this computation, sir?
It is an interagency work.
Namalengke po ba sila?
uh, the the food menu was constructed by FNRI.
FNRI,
Food
are
and
they
Nutrition
here now? No, no.
Research Institute. But Madam Chair, just we have heard the comments and the criticism, and PSA and NEDA have been already reviewing the methodology to address the concerns. But just to also let us appreciate the
Downward
numbers.
trend.
We also do perform robustness check in our statistics, Madam Chair. For example, when we say that based on this poverty thresholds adjusted for inflation, nakikita natin na the pababa. And so we ask, what if mas mataas yung poverty threshold? Do we still see the same trend? And the answer, Madam Chair, is yes, we do this. Even if we apply higher thresholds, for so long as we're consistent in applying that threshold over time, we see some progress in poverty reduction. In
Okay.
fact, the World Bank, its threshold for upper middle income class and upper middle of $6 PPP in purchasing power parity place us at a higher poverty, but still show a declining trend. So
Okay.
it makes us believe that the programs of government, Madam Chair, regardless of what thresholds we are using or we use, show an improvement in poverty.
Okay, so can you give me an example can you give me an actual amount of what variable you use for the new threshold? Kung ang sinasabi ninyong umpisang threshold dito ay 13,873 per month for the poverty threshold, what variable did you use? What amount?
We are still the PSA is here, Madam Chair, but
Ah.
because they are leading the
Okay, Mr. Mapa.
exercise.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. We did the simulation as mentioned by the Secretary that even if we increase the threshold, we can see still reduction.
Kaya nga, ano nga ang threshold yun?
We have one that is 30% above the current poverty
So
threshold.
30%
Yeah.
above the
Yeah, that's about
13,873.
18,035.
Okay. And pababa pa rin.
Yeah, ang number natin ng 2023 kasi 2023 pa yung survey natin, ang magiging dami ng pamilya below that would be 22.8%. Pero kung i-compare natin nung 2021, yung previous, it's 25.5%. So may reduction pa rin po na 2.7 percentage points, which is similar.
Next year's budget, although I won't be here anymore, perhaps you can do a more realistic computation because of course it looks good on paper, but then if the reality shows otherwise, that people are still struggling, then our other programs that are dependent on the actual poverty rate might be compromised. On the other hand, I would also like to commend the efforts of this administration because as you mentioned, and I guess it's realist with the data, that pababa pa rin yung poverty. Pero hindi nangangahulugan na okay na tayo kasi 20+% pa rin ang naghihirap sa ating bansa na isang kahig, isang tuka So kailangan pa rin natin talagang pagbutihin ang mga social protection programs natin. On the next question, dito naman tayo sa very controversial ID system natin. Okay. So, you are in charge of the national ID. Ito na naman PSA, right? Okay, so the PSA is in charge of it, but you asked the central bank to print it. Am I correct?
Yes, Madam Chair, the
Okay,
central bank.
first question. Gusto ko malaman, saan ba tayo nagkamali dito sa um, information na dapat nakalagay sa card? Kasi ang sinasabi nga, wala ditong information sa what date of birth? Walang signature. Walang signature ba yung mga ID card?
Yes, Madam Chair. Yung nasa batas kasi ng PhilSys Act of 2018, nakaspecify lang po kung ano yung ilalagay sa ating national ID card. So ito
Po ba yung
there are
nakaspecify?
only 10 items. So ito po yung pangalan,
Okay.
yung address mo, yung sex, male, female, birthday, at yung blood type, yun po. Wala po nakalagay na signature. The idea po kasi is we are transitioning to digitalization at ang means of authentication, kung ikaw talaga yon, ay hindi na yung perma mo, but rather yung biometrics. Kasi doon po sa registration ay kinukuha yung mga biometrics, including the demographics, yung iris, yung face, saka yung fingerprint. Para po talaga hindi na mapeke po kasi yung perma naman ay napi-fake yun eh. So yun po yung intent of the law. And right now, the Philippine National ID system for authentication is actually utilizing the biometrics po. Either the face, ito po yung ginagawa ng DICT, yung eGov system nila. Naka-base po yun sa National ID system. Saka yung DSWD naman for their 4-piece beneficiaries na gumagamit naman ng fingerprints.
Okay. I understand that we are forward thinking, but at the same time, we have also neglected the reality or the practical reality, which is this ID will serve as the actual ID people use, let's say, when they're transacting in the banks. Usually they ask for 2 forms of ID, but with a signature. Kasi hindi naman yung mga lugar naman na yon, wala naman silang biometrics, 'di ba? They don't have access to the database, for example, of the PSA. So now my question is, since you have to give us also a background on this, the central bank terminated the contract with all cards. All cards, all card. Okay. Number one, I want to know what the reason is. You have to be in the know with regards to this. Number two, since they did terminate, is there still a possibility for us to reformat the cards to include the signature this time? So those 2 questions, Mr. Mapa.
Yes, Madam Chair. As we transition to the national ID na digital, we have in addition kanina sa present ni Secretary RC na mayroon tayong physical card at mayroon tayong yung e-fill ID which is on paper form. Last June 10, we started launching yung digital version, yung sa digital national ID with the DICT. So that's about 18 million digital cards at mayroon pong nilagay yung DICT na pwede kang mag-sign. So yun po, that answers it.
Sa digital.
Sa digital po.
Hindi.
Sa physical, ma'am.
Sa physical.
Sa physical, this gives us an opportunity kasi po nag-cancel ang BSP ng contract nila with all cards. We stop actually at 55.5 million physical cards po. So ngayon, we are just winding down yung operations namin sa BSP complex. And of course, as mentioned kanina, almost 90 million yung ating na-register na, and the President instructed us to still provide the physical card. So the Philippine Statistics Authority is now looking or talking to providers para po sasalo at pinasok na po namin yung signature po as an option.
As an option. So pipili ako kung gusto ko yung signature ko nandun or wala.
Yes, ma'am.
Ba't di na lang gawin
Hindi,
mandatory?
pag nag-register po siya, ma'am, ay pag kinuha yung card niya, may pipirma siya para mag-appear po yung
I think
signature niya.
dapat ilagay na doon. I mean, granted na fake. Lahat naman pwedeng i-fake rin. I mean, of course, biometrics are better, but then there's also the problem of people stealing identities based on hacking into computers. That's why it's always good to have redundancy. I just feel that the reality is a lot of our countrymen in many places and even small businesses would have the biometric system. It's always good to have a physical copy of it. Now, so sir, you're saying 55.2 million,
55.5, Madam Chair.
0.5 million physical cards were issued,
Yes.
and then about 90 million registered.
Yes.
So at least that means
35 po ang balance.
35 ang balance.
Tapos continuing pa po kasi the registration is
Okay, so yung 35 million na registered, meron na silang digital ID nito.
yung mga registrants natin, ma'am, yung 90 million muna, yun yung registered, ano. Tapos we have to verify them that they are unique kasi may iba naman na nagre-register twice. So using our biometrics, we call that the authentication system. So out of the 90 million, almost 90 million, about 86 million are identified as unique already. The 4 million are still being processed. So sila po ang pwede nang bigyan ng either the physical card, the e-fill ID on paper form, or yung digital card. Now, ang total po natin, we already delivered 53.5 million physical card out of the 55. Yung 55, yung dalawa po, 2 million na balance dinideliver pa. And then we already delivered also 46 million e-fill ID, yung paper form, and 18 million digital national ID was released by DICT. So in a way, yung mga 85 million po na clear na natin na registrants, either they get a physical card already or the paper form or the digital form po.
So tatlo bale yan. You have the digital form, you have the paper form, and you actually
Physical.
have the physical. Yung paper, parang physical din yon.
Yes,
Pero hindi lang nga maganda pa.
but we are committed to deliver all the physical card po.
So yung balance ninyo ng physical cards na kulang, ilan
About
nga?
35.
35 million.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, so now, since you're going to have, I'm going to ask about the controversy of All Card. But since you have terminated that contract and you'll be having a different layout, you will already have that option, just for the record, of the signature. What will happen now to those who had their cards issued earlier but would like to have a card that has a signature?
Mayroon po tayong tinatawag na updating system. That's natural sa lahat ng documents. If you have changed address or may changes demographic. So we are doing it actually na yung updating, so they can proceed sa updating natin. And depende po sa pag-update kasi new card na po yon. So there is a possibility, but we will consult our counsel if there is a fee for the second card po.
I understand. Maybe if it's just a plain update, like for example, an update in information like physical address, then maybe there could be a minimal fee. Okay, but when it comes to improving something that is obviously because we didn't have the foresight to think about it, I think that should be the government's cost. Like for example, lagyan ng signature, pinapaganda niyo yung proseso kasi dati pinalpak tayo. Dapat yon libre na.
We will do the computation.
So give us a computation on that.
Yeah.
If everybody will have an updated physical ID, what will it cost them? Okay. Number two, my question again is about All Card. Ano ba nangyari doon? Some people are saying, why did the central bank procure the services of All Card when they have their own printing system? Now, I mean just what do you call this, common sense. Of course, the central bank is also printing not just the national IDs, but I assume our money, right? So hindi naman pwedeng ma-tie down yung mga equipment nila doon. So was that the reason why they contracted out the printing to all cards, and why was it canceled?
Ma'am, dun sa pag-contract, ang memorandum of agreement between the PSA kasi is with BSP. So when we entered into a MOA, our expectation is that it's BSP. So as mentioned, we were surprised na all cards ang kumuha, ano. Nalaman namin nung nagkakaroon na ng operation.
You were assuming BSP themselves will print it.
Because our memorandum of agreement is between PSA and BSP as approved by our council po.
Are we in violation of an agreement or the law? Because if there was an agreement between you and BSP, is there a particular provision that says BSP will print?
Nakalagay po sa aming MOA that hindi po pwede yung subcontracting. Yun po yung note ng aming COA nung nagkaroon ng
So, paano ngayon yan? They violated.
our COA, Madam Chair is here.
No, this is actually a grave concern because if they blatantly violated memorandum of agreement, that's something that can cancel out the entire agreement, and then I mean BSP might be liable for something here. COA, paki-explain nga kung paano nila nalusutan ito.
Okay. Under the back resolution number 20-06-03, it was stated that subcontract is not allowed. And the back resolution is part of the memorandum of agreement. And then when nung nalaman nga namin na si Allcard yung nakuha niya, we raised this issue with the PSA.
You
Yes.
raised the issue.
Yes.
And then what did PSA do? Did you call the central bank?
Yeah, nung March, the COA report, Madam Chair, was about dated May of 2023. Prior to that, about late March of 2023, we wrote already BSP. The purpose, because the objective of the PSA is really to make sure that the cards are being produced and delivered. During the time, the spike in the registration number has been there, and the people are complaining why they don't have the cards yet. In March 2023, only 35 million cards were with us and delivered. And we wrote them a letter requesting that we terminate the MOA at 50 million. 50 million. The reason for the 50 million is that to give us time to prepare for another service provider, because we don't want to cut outright and then no cards are being produced. The idea of 50 million, which is 15 million from 35, is that would give us about maybe 6 months to prepare for another service provider that can increase the numbers of cards produced.
Okay, I'm sorry. The budget for the national ID was actually given to NEDA, PSA.
PSA po.
Okay, so PSA basically is paying the central bank.
Yeah, by cards produced po.
And it's specific in your memorandum of agreement that you cannot subcontract.
It's part of the back resolution which is attached to the memorandum of agreement.
Okay. So COA, pag ganito, liable ba ang central bank na ibalik yung payment na yan sa PSA? Kasi obviously the one in violation is not the PSA, at least when it comes to the agreement itself. Meron na bang ruling ang COA dyan?
We will check po muna sa cluster namin regarding the issue para po mapag-aralan din natin. Mamaya.
Magkano na ba yan, sir? Let's say, magkano na ba yung nabayad ninyo sa central bank?
About 1.4 billion already, Madam Chair. We're to pay the 55.5 million at 30 pesos per card po. Yun yung
So dun sa sinasabi mong threshold na 55 million ID cards.
yun po yung dapat naming bayaran, ano. Pero yung
Oo.
nabayaran namin mga about 90% pa lang kasi may billing pa po na sumusunod.
Yeah, okay lang. So yung 1.4 billion is about 90%
Yes.
of the 55 million cards. Okay. May background ba kayo sa all cards na yan? Ano ba yan?
The
Do they have a track record of printing or who
Madam
owns
Chair,
it?
the All Cards is a BSP service provider. So
I know, but then what company? I mean, who owns that? Who owns that company? Bakit sila yung napili? Nag-bidding ba ang central bank dyan?
I understand that there was a bidding process po.
So
But
this was,
we will get information from the BSP po.
you should have had that information.
Ang binigay kasi nila sa amin, Madam Chair, na information is that they terminated the contract of All Cards for the production of the blank national ID. That's the information that they
Siguro, because maybe this happened during, not Remolona's time, right?
2020 po yung during the time of former Governor Ben Joc.
2020 ba he was there? Okay. So, okay. So I think we have to investigate further. Ano ba tong all cards na to? I think the reason why this is terminated now is maybe the board of the BSP realized, teka muna, baka they're in violation of something because the memorandum of agreement is pretty clear. Diba? Hindi nila pwedeng i-subcontract yan. COA, I will expect a submission with regards to your opinion on this decision of the central bank to contract the printing of the national ID cards to a third party.
We will comply, Your Honor. Actually, this is still an ongoing verification, validation on our part. And we will also check the liability of the PSA as well as we will coordinate also with the audit team of the BSP on this matter. Thank you, ma'am.
Alam mo itong all card na ito, sila rin pala yung may issue sa driver's license. Eh. So I don't understand bakit sila ang most favored palagi. A big ticket projects like for example the national ID, everyone is mandated, well not mandated, everyone can have that, the entire population. And ongoing yan kasi may mga nanganganak pa, may mga ano. So sino ba may-ari nitong all card na to? Tapos, COA, I understand you have to be prudent. But you mentioned what's the violation of the PSA. I mean, maybe PSA has mishandled certain processes, but the clear violation is BSP. Am I correct?
Pardon, Mr. Pardon, ma'am. What's the
So
question?
you meant BSP.
Pardon po. What's the question, ma'am?
No. Sinasabi ninyo that you will still come up with your findings on the violation of the PSA. But clearly, the one that is literally in violation is the central bank. Hindi ba?
We will coordinate po with the BSP with regard to the issue po.
So you don't see, you'll coordinate with the BSP. You don't see anything wrong with what they did.
It's the violation of the MOA.
It's a violation
Yes,
of the MOA.
yes. Opo.
Okay, so if it's a violation of the MOA and that money by Congress was entrusted to the PSA, so the PSA actually has the authority to give the provisions and the conditions for that national ID printing, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so parang ito na lang ang siguro titignan ninyo. Kung in violation ng central bank dahil hindi nila sinunod, kinuha nila yung all card na bawal naman ng third party contractor, tama ba yun? Provider. That's a clear violation. Anong nangyayari in instances na may violation sa MOA nila? Kailangan bang ibalik ang pera? Meron bang liability, legal liability ang BSP or the ones that approved that budget? I mean that the release of or the approval of the third party provider. Diba? Will the board of the central bank be liable for that? So these are the things and I hope that you can give us that response before we have the plenary debates. Kasi for sure, titignan ito ng titignan ng mga senators na ang daming reklamo sa mga IDs, tapos ang daming reklamo sa driver's license, tapos kinuha pa rin natin yung all card para naman tayo nagpalokong ilang beses sa kanila. 'Di ba? Wala bang may information sa inyo kung sino si all card? And may I request, may music ka pa talaga, ano? I would like to acknowledge and the presence of Senator Bato de la Rosa. Thank you, sir, for providing a quorum. Okay, so COA, pakisabi na lang pakisubmit na lang yung findings ninyo tungkol dito.
Yes, we will submit the AOM.
Yeah, thank you.
Audit Observation Memorandum.
And then I also want from the MOA between the PSA and the BSP, please submit. You might have it now. Please give us a copy of this because it's not accessible to us, to the public. Kasi Senator Bato, bibigyan kita ng background. Itong national ID natin, 'di ba? May mga reklamo, hindi na, well, mahirap naman talaga mag-register ng halos sa 100 million, no? Pero mabagal, kulang-kulang, walang signature, 'di ba? Hindi nila magamit. Ngayon, yung pera na yan, yung budget, binigay natin sa Philippine Statistics Authority. Kayo ang bahala sa national ID natin. Ang ginawa nila, memorandum of agreement sila sa Central Bank. Kasi ang Central Bank may printing facility. Nakalagay dun sa MOA nila, bawal ang Central Bank na kumuha ng third-party provider na magpiprint. Dapat Central Bank mismo. Tama ba itong sinasabi ko? Tapos ang nangyari, hindi sinuway pa rin ng Central Bank. Kumuha sila ng magpiprint, na medyo palpak naman. Ang pangalan ng kumpanya, All Card, na sila rin ang deficient dun sa printing ng driver's license natin. So tanong, bakit ginawa yan ng Central Bank na malinaw sa kanilang agreement na bawal silang kumontrata sa labas? Diba? So yun yung issue. Okay. So may tanong ba kayo, sir? Or opening? Ay, nako. Dito naman tayo, isa pa to, fake birth certificates. Nasasapawan dito yung development plan natin kasi nga dito sa mga issues but let's go to the fake birth certificates. PSA rin ba ito? Okay. Ako kasi ang isa dun sa mga authors nung late registration, 'di ba, of births. Kasi meron naman talaga, lalo na sa mga probinsya, na hindi nakakapagrehistro ng bata. Okay. Pero sa tingin ko naman, hindi naman siguro mahirap suriin kung may nagpa-register sa'yo na medyo matanda na o kaya kaduda-duda yung yung pamilya o yung lineage, makita mo parang hindi naman talaga tiga roon, hindi naman siguro mahina ang ating mga miyembro ng PSA na hindi nila makikita na sila ay niloloko lamang nitong mga nagpaparehistro ng late registration at saka fake birth certificates. So can you explain to me? Kasi ito in the previous months, the whole nation was shocked with the report of a birth certificate mill, particularly in one area, Davao del Sur, which is said to have produced more than 1,200 fraudulent birth certificates. So doon pa lamang dapat meron ng alarm bells na, oops, merong isang lugar sa Pilipinas na parang ang dami-dami yatang nagpaparehistro doon. Alam mo, just to give you an example kaya nahuhuli rin halimbawa ng AMLAC ba or NBI na merong child pornography or child prostitution sa isang probinsya dahil walang industry sa probinsya na yon or walang trabaho, pero yung mga money, ano ba yon? Mga money, yung mga luwilier, yung mga remittance centers, ang daming nare-remit sa lugar na yon na napakaliit ng populasyon na hindi mo naman masasabing OFW lang ang nagpapadala. So in short, you have to wise up also and see, wait, there's something inadvertent about this. This is something unusual. So has this come to your attention? Is this under your office, your Davao del Sur office?
Madam Chair, thank you very much for raising that point. I'd just like to explain the process of late registration, as you mentioned. The late registration and the documents kasi emanates from the local civil registrars. So each town and municipality ay mayroon po noon, 1,634, including po yung na-mention ninyo na sa Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur. Yung mga local civil registrars po ay hindi po sila under ng PSA. So sila po yung nagpa-process ng mga documents kasi doon galing yung event sa kanila, yung panganak, at yun po yung pinapadala nila sa Philippine Statistics Authority para ma-load natin doon sa ating database na magiging accessible sa lahat. The local civil registrars report to the mayors po. So yung sa amin po, yung PSA, yung mga technical guidance lang. And doon sa late registration, klaro naman po yung aming policy kung ano yung mga requirements. Unfortunately, may mga local civil registrars tayo, and you mentioned ngayon sa Santa Cruz, na nagpapadala ng hindi verified na mga birth certificate.
Okay. Sir, ilan ulit ang local civil register?
1,634 po.
Okay. Dun sa 1,634 civil registrars, meron ba kayong natanggap na ganito karami in that type? I mean, obviously, there's some registers in a metropolis, okay? Pero meron pa bang mga ibang kaduda-duda, like in, kunyari, Santa Cruz, ganun ba karami yung population? And have you gone there now to investigate
Yes,
and to
ma'am.
verify? Okay.
We have already, in fact, blocked 1,500 birth registrations. Ang kasama po yon, yung karamihan doon ay galing sa Santa Cruz. Ibig sabihin po, hindi nila na marirequest. At yung po yung process, 18 of this ay pinadala na namin sa Office of the Solicitor General for cancellation na po. Kasi may proseso. So yung una po, binablock muna namin sa system para hindi na ma-request. And then we will engage the OSG for the cancellation.
Okay. Cancel, sir?
Ang ngayon ng cancellation, mayroon tayong isang case, yung kay Mayor Alice.
Hindi, so far, 80?
18 ang nasa
cancel na sa
OSG po
OSG.
yung for process of cancellation.
1-8.
Kasi, yeah, it goes to the court kasi, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, yung sinasabi mo na hindi na muna nila ma-access yung birth
About
certificate. 1-5.
1.5. Yeah.
Pero may kopya na sila. Nabigyan na sila initially, hindi pa rin.
Pwedeng nabigyan sila ng kopya po.
Exactly. Ngayon, yun bang registrar na yon, sinong pwedeng mag-imbestiga sa kanila?
Ang yung sa Santa Cruz po, siya po yung napakarami talaga na nilabas. Pero sa PSA, ang aming fraud management division ay nag-identify kasi sa buong bansa natin, yung 1,634, we identified already 49 local civil registrars na may reports. And we confirmed that 15 of them ay mayroong naglabas ng birth certificate na foreign national na hindi tama.
So ano yan, kakasuhan natin?
Yeah,
Yung
we
mga
are
register
coordinating with we sent our recommendation to their mayors. Yung sa Santa Cruz po ay na-relieve na siya. Yung ibang mga local civil registrars ay iniimbestigahan ng kanilang mga chief executive, but we are sending also, PSA is also sending this to the National Bureau of Investigation.
Okay, dun ba sa Santa Cruz, meron bang particular nationality na napakaraming nagpa-register?
Yung Pilipino po yung sinasabi nila na Pilipino
Pero
sila,
mukhang ano,
they are Chinese.
okay. Kilala mo ba yun?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Santa Cruz is my hometown. Lugar ko yan. Kaya nga, kinakausap ko yung mayor doon. Ang problema, baka mamaya malusutan tayo doon sa local civil register dahil para nagpa-process na ng retirement. Baka mamaya makaiwas yan sa kanya mga administrative liability, no? Criminal baka maipit pa siya, pero yung hindi niya maklaim yung kanyang retirement, baka maka-retire na yun ng maaga. Kasi ganito, Madam Chair, yung part sana ng PSA, was there a way of monitoring all the inputs coming from these local civil registers papunta sa inyo? Kasi it has been going on since 2013. 2013 pa na yun nag-start na nagpa-process hanggang umabot na ng 1,600? 1,500. Kaya nga kung ako ang PSA, siguro kung may monitoring effort, masasabi ko siguro, oh, baka parang red flag na ito. Yung Santa Cruz palagi, parang mga in-check ito na late registration. At hindi siguro aabot ng up to this year kung na-monitor yan ninyo noon. Kung binabantayan ninyo, bakit palagi Santa Cruz? Puro mga Chinese ito. Palaging Santa Cruz. Sana na-aksyonan na nyo yan noon ng maaga pa, hindi aabot tayo ng ganito kadami. I don't know kung paano nyo minomonitor yan.
Madam Chair, yung late registration per se, kasi as you mentioned, talagang millions ang nagpapa-late to register. So, hindi siya unusual. Kasi pag 30 days upon your birth, ay hindi mo na-rehistro doon sa late na kaagad yon. At marami tayo, mga Pilipino. Sa ngayon, based on 2020 census, 3.7 million ang wala pang birth certificate.
Oo nga, pero ito, puro in-check ito eh. Puro Chinese ito. Imposibleng hindi kayo magdududa nito.
Madam Chair, yung pagpapadala po kasi, hindi naman sinasabi na Chinese sila, Pilipino sila eh.
Pilipino nga, pero ang pangalan, ano nakalagay na pangalan doon? Pilipino na. There's no way na makounter ninyo.
The trust kasi, the responsibility of knowing the person that is registering to you lies on the...
Yeah, we are not trying to point fingers dito ha. We are looking for solutions.
Ang ginagawa
Hindi natin, nandyan na yan. Nandyan yan. Looking forward, gusto natin makahanap ng, Madam Chair, ng paraan na hindi na ito maulit-uli. Kasi according to, functions of the PSA, Section 6 of the Philippine Statistical Act of 2013, letter A, carry out, enforce, and administer civil registration functions in the country as provided for in the Act number 3753, otherwise known as the Civil Registry Law. So, in the performance of that function, sana meron rin tayong...
I agree. I agree, Madam Chair. I agree with the good senator. The Philippine Statistics Authority, of course, is also bothered. Sabi ko nga, 3.7 million na mga Pilipino talagang wala pang birth registration. And in fact, mayroon tayong campaign, yung ating birth registration assistance project na nakuha natin 410,000 na bigyan natin together with the local civil registrar. At nagkaroon tayo po ng mga bagong memorandum as aligned with the good senator na mention para mas sigurado na talagang Pilipino yung or mabawasan ito or maiwasan itong mga fraudulent documents, no. Ang isang, Madam Chair, na common dito sa late registration ng mga Chinese, particularly in Santa Cruz, yung non-appearance ng tao. Nagpapadala na siya ng document, hindi siya nag-appear, mayroon siyang kasama.
Meron yan sila, organized crime syndicate yan eh. Meron silang, kumbaga, fixer.
Yes.
Na pupunta by bulk yan, dinadala 20, 10, 50 for this week, pupunta doon sa local civil registrar. Ito, plus the money na padulas, kaya tuloy-tuloy yan doon. Pero
Moving forward, Madam Chair, kaya nga para maiwasan ito, may isa kaming nilagay noong July, naglabas ang PSA ng memo para dun sa late registration na dagdag. Kailangan bago ka magpa-late registration ay dapat na-register ka sa National ID. Ang purpose nun ay para magpakita ka. Kasi sa National ID, kailangan kukunan ka ng biometrics.
Paano nila mapapatunayan sa national ID na Pilipino sila kung wala silang birth certificate?
Ano po sa National ID, ito po yung mga late registration na pwede silang magbigay. Sa National ID naman kasi, birth registration and other documents. Pero what is important is that there is an interview process kasi tinatanong yung pangalan.
Birth registration, birth certificate yon, di ba?
Yep, opo.
Akala ko ba kung wala silang birth certificate, kailangan muna silang mag-national ID?
I-re-register po, Madam Chair. So what will happen is that nagko-coordinate kami sa local civil registrar na para mailabas lang yung tao na a-apply ng late registration.
So you're saying simultaneous?
Yes po, yes po.
Okay, not ID first.
No, no.
Simultaneous. Ah, okay. Well, okay, ganito. I'm curious lang Saan ba to? Kasi 1.5 yung hindi. Ilan nga silang mga nagpa-register dun sa Davao del Sur?
1,500 daw.
1.5 ba? Okay. So about 1,500. Anong mga edad na yun? Ano yung pinaka mga matatanda doon? No? Yung alam natin hindi naman sanggol or hindi naman bata.
I am sure they are all Pugo working age. No.
The number of registered na foreign nationals sa Davao ay 1,501. Yun po yung number. And these are 18 and above according to my deputy.
18 and above na. Alam mo yung civil registrar na yan, ewan ko kung obviously pwede din siya ma-influence ng people above her, no? Pero dapat tawagin yung civil register na yan at tanungin kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari. So, 1,501, ilan nga yung na-cancel nyo dito?
Black na po lahat yun, ma'am.
Lahat. Baka naman meron talagang Pilipino doon.
Pumunta po yung team namin,
And-
kasama yung mayor din ng Santa Cruz. Nag-check po kami sa mga documents.
And lahat fake.
Lahat po may questions yung mga submission, kaya blinak na namin.
Ay, nako. Grabe naman pala to, ano? Well, at least na-uncover na yan. 'Di ba? Nakita natin nung sinabi ng presidente na ban na yung POGO and they have to wrap up by the end of the year, nabawasan ng tech scams niya, 'di ba? Nabawasan yung mga nangungulit na nanalo ka ng ganito, nanalo ka ng ganyan. At least for me, and it's a marked difference. And then now we see, yun nga yung sinasabi natin, the social ills cannot compensate. I mean, the economic gains cannot compensate for the social ills that it has created. So anyway, punta naman tayo sa development ng konti kasi medyo ano na. Secretary Balisacan, what are the priorities now of the government? Ano ba yung, kasi ganito, minsan ang daming mga magagandang PPP project proposals, unsolicited project proposals, nagkakaroon ng bottleneck sa NEDA. Okay? And some of them are pretty obvious like airport development, ganyan palagi ang tinuturo, ang bagal kasi ng NEDA. So instead of NEDA being an economic development agency, sometimes NEDA has become the hindrance to economic development in the views of some because of the pace. And I don't blame you. I know that there are a lot of things to consider. So tell me, sir, normally when there's a proposal to NEDA, how long does it take for you to approve it?
We have guidelines that indicate the specific number of days in which a document moves. But sa totoo lang ho, ang mga causes of delays are incomplete submission of agencies, the implementing agencies. So it's not NEDA. We are easy recipient of those blames, but because we are the reviewers, we review whether the proper the metrics are met in terms of viability, sustainability, mga ganun ho ang tinitingnan namin. But for us to do that, we need to get the data, the information provided by the proponents and the implementing agencies. Doon ho palagi na nade-delay kasi hindi meron na nga sinabi na checklist, pag punta sa amin yung document, hindi naman kompleto para magawa yung trabaho. Hindi na naman kami dadalhin yung project na yan sa NEDA board chaired by the president na incomplete staff work. So ang ano namin sa appeal namin sa mga project proponents, complete the proposal before you bring it in kasi madidelay lang yon.
Okay, sir. Normally, iba-iba ang mga requirements niyo depending on the project. Or do you have a template? Like let's say, kung airport, itong template. Kung roads and bridges, ito ang template. May ganun ba kayo? Kung ODA, ito ang
Pinaka
template.
very basic naman, mama, yung feasibility study. Nasaan yung feasibility study? If the feasibility study doesn't provide the information that we are looking at, then there is no way we can advise the president whether this project is economically beneficial or not. Because at the end of the NEDA, what we are tasked to do is to assure the taxpayers that the projects that we approve will yield benefits that are greater than the cost. So kung wala yung mga information na kinakailangan namin, talagang hindi magagawa yan.
Okay, sir. Can you tell me what are the projects now of the government? Ano yung mga in the pipeline sa NEDA that is about to be approved?
For the flagship projects, Madam Chair, we have 186 of those, and then we have also PPP projects. Some of those flagship projects are also PPPs, but there are many PPPs that are not part of the flagship projects yet. Kasi
So
ang
you have about 186
186
flagship
doon sa flagship projects.
flagship
And,
projects.
And
Pero ito, wala pang approval ito. Ano?
hindi, marami na ho. Yung mga complete, actually, 4 of these are actually already completed. 66 of them are ongoing. 31 have been approved for implementation. 5 of them are now with us for government approval. And then 35 are under project preparation. Ito yung sinasabi natin na feasibility studies. And then yung mga another 45 are pre-project preparation, meaning ito yung before we go into detailed feasibility study, meron ginagawa na
Submissions muna.
pre-feasibility just to ensure that before we pour in money into producing feasibility studies, kasi expensive din yan, kasi lalo na yung mga complicated projects, we make sure that may technically viable yun or
So can I read to you, sir? So out of the 186 flagship projects, 4 have been completed. Can you tell me what those 4 are? It's okay, sir. Apat lang yan eh. Dapat memorize na natin yan.
marami yung some of those, if I recall, one of this is the project in Samar. No?
Ano po, Samar?
One of this was a road project in Samar.
Na kailangan ng NEDA approval because it has an economic impact?
Ah, yeah,
Is it like a tourism? Okay, ano yun?
Ito yung apat. These are the Korean ODA funded Samar Pacific Coastal Road Project.
Okay, Samar Coastal Road, okay.
The other one is the Integrated Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change Adaptation Project. These are for low-lying areas of Pampanga Bay.
Okay.
The third is the Japan ODA funded Flood Risk Improvement and Management Project in Cagayan de Oro. And locally funded Sorala Tibuli San Jose Road Project who is implementing. All the basic details are there, ma'am.
Okay.
Including, in fact, this dashboard has a version that the president can see and what is holding this project. For example, we report to the president quarterly, ma'am, on the progress of this 186 projects, and the implementing agencies are tasked to explain to the president for any delays.
May I ask if the NAIA rehabilitation is part of this 186? It is. So
Yeah.
the status now would be approved for implementation? Anong status
It's
ngayon?
now it will now be transferred to the NAIA will now be transferred to the concessionaire
Okay,
on
but-
September 14.
No, but what will be the status in NEDA of that? Kasi na-transfer. So will it be approved for implementation.
Oh no, approved na for implementation a year ago pa.
No, but it's part of the flagship project. di
So
ba?
by that time,
So what
it will be completed na. It will say, we'll mark it as
it will say completed kahit hindi pa naman tapos kasi na-hand over
on a
na.
handover na, ma'am.
So completed does not necessarily mean it's already up and running. It just means NEDA has already given the go signal to the applicant,
Kung may
the
turnover
agency
naman.
or the private sector to
Yeah. Insofar as PPP is concerned, ma'am, ganun.
okay
But
no.
kung mga government implemented projects na
Oh.
and until they are the
Actually
projects
completed.
completed.
So itong Samar Coastal Road actual completed 'yon. Itong integrated Pampanga disaster risk
Completed na yan.
completed kasi that's all about this Japan ODA sa CDO
Completed na rin yan, ma'am.
completed. Is an ODA still considered government project,
It
not a
is.
PPP?
Well, some most of the ODAs yeah, it's a loan by government. ODA and PPP are two different mode of financing projects, ma'am.
Okay.
But,
So merong ODA and PPP na magkasama?
Meron din. For example, itong railway projects,
Oo.
yung construction of the stock would be ODA, but we are looking at PPP for the operation and maintenance.
Oh, okay. Ang dami ninyong dapat basahin. Ang
Madam
hirap.
Chair,
Oh, yes.
yung
Senator Batoy Strat.
yes sir, yung sa kwan sir, yung sa Mindanao Railway Project, ano ang status noon?
Regrettably for that, Your Honor, because the commitment of the Chinese government to fund the project did not materialize. So now we are back to almost zero. We looking for another interested development partner to finance it. Your
So,
Honor.
in the scale of 1 to 10, ang posibilidad na matuloy yun saan banda?
It's in the IFE. It's part of our high priority projects in the public investment program of the government. But ang kulang na lang talaga ho yung funder.
Gusto ko lang malaman sa'yo,
ah.
malaman from you kung
Kasi
yung scale 1 to 10 kasi kailangan kong hindi ko pa madesisyonan kung maghakot ako ng gamit doon or ibalik ko yung mga gamit doon sa yung bahay ko kasi tatamaan yung railway na yun kaya hindi namin alam ni Mrs. kung anong gawin namin doon, maghakot na tayo o lipat natin o as is na yung plano natin dyan, tuloy-tuloy na yung pagtitira natin dyan. Tatamaan talaga yung buong bahay ko talaga, wasak talaga yun. Dahil tatamaan, bakit doon pinadaan ni Secretary Tugade yung plano na yun? Yung di wala, okay lang ako ha. Kaya gusto ko lang malaman kung anong, hindi naman ako, I don't want to be obstructionist pagdating sa development. Bahala na kung sacrifice ko, masira yung bahay ko kahit na malaki investment yung sa aking retirement doon ko binuhos yung retirement ko pero yun nga lang, gusto ko malaman kung ano ba talaga. Mukhang matagal pa, no? Malabo pa.
as Madam Chair, railway is still the most efficient way of moving goods and services. So that's why our priority should be in developing railways across, should have already all these railways already spread all over the country.
Mukhang matagal-tagal pa, sir. Okay ba?
It's a
Matagal pa.
question of money, ho. I think if we can manage to grow, to sustain a growth of 6 to 7%, 6 to 8%, we should be able to increasingly afford building more railways
Okay. So,
and
kagod pa ako doon.
infrastructure.
Mukhang matagal pa yan. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Itong isa ho, itong Manila Bicol, that's also a high priority infrastructure that was also initially committed by the Chinese government to fund. But again, just like the Mindanao case, we are now looking for other sources of funding or development partners who might be interested in funding that one out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, so the Bulacan Airport is also part of this flagship, pero it's under PPP? No. No, what is it under?
That's a PPP project.
PPP. Okay. So, can we have a copy? I know that you said it's in your website, sir, pero alam mo may pagka old school kami dito. Bigyan niyo na kami ng printout, ang dami na namin nire-research eh. So, we want this 186 project because I'm so sure this will be asked in plenary. How many are completed? What are those? How many is ongoing? What are those? Etc. Okay? Thank you, sir. Bibilisan ko para wala pang dumating. Tapos na. Okay, LEDAC na lang, LEDAC. Question on LEDAC. On the impact of the POGO ban, both the executive and the legislative are one in completing banning the POGO industry, but we need information on the consequences of the POGO so we can craft better policies. Has the LEDAC Secretariat looked into the possible uneven impact of the POGO ban across the regions? And has there been a direction also for us to push for an actual ban on the POGOs now and other online gaming?
We provided,
Masarap to, dali mo na.
NEDA did an assessment of the impact, possible impact of of banning POGO operations in the country, Madam President, and we submitted to members of Congress. And our estimate then was that in 2023, no more than 0.23% of GDP would be the impact of the POGO. In other words, POGO operations account for less than 1/2 of
Sir,
of
ano
our
ba,
GDP.
ano ba yung GDP natin ng 2023? Yung total GDP?
Must be
Ilang-
about 27 trillion.
27 trillion pesos.
Roughly.
And magkano yung nabigay ng, ano yung 0.23% ng GDP?
That's the 0.23% of GDP. That's the
Remittance.
contribution of POGO to the
Kasama ba
economy.
kasama
Lahat
ba
na
yung
yan, ma'am, eh.
downstream?
Downstream na,
Kasama na yung
kasama na
downstream?
yan kasi mga
Mga restaurants,
wages,
rentals.
including kasi rentals are part
Okay.
of the GDP.
Okay. 0.23%. That's interesting. Thank you. Nabawasan yung budget ng LEDAC. How will that affect your operations?
We have a very small staff, Madam President.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
Never
for
mind.
that.
Just write to us what you think of that. You know what? I'm curious about this national volunteer. Ano ba yan? Teka muna, hindi ko pa. I'm not even actually a Philippine National Volunteer Service Coordinating Agency. Paano ba yan? I mean, kung merong isang malaking delegation na gusto mag-volunteer, kunyari may disaster dito or may ano, kailangan dumaan sa inyo?
Nagko-coordinate, ma'am. But this one was usually, if you remember, nung araw merong mga service corps ang US, mga
Peace Corps,
Peace
ganyan.
Corps noon.
So are you still, meron pang Peace Corps hanggang ngayon, by the
Yes,
way.
ma'am.
So, are they still here? Are they coordinating with you?
Yes, ma'am. Sa ngayon po, there are around 200 Peace Corps volunteers in service. All their assignments are coordinated with PNVSCA. They have to go through a process. So kailangan po may requests for volunteers from the different local organizations before they can come in. The FA also waits for PNVSA endorsement to issue them their visa. So aside from Peace Corps, there are also we have also volunteers from Japan through JICA, Korean volunteers through KOICA, German, French, and Australian po. These are all government-funded volunteer programs.
In short, usually if it's a foreign organization that would like to volunteer their services here, they coordinate through your agency. Or
You-
do they have to get a permit? from your
Ma'am, the
agency?
agreement po is between the governments. So PNVSA po do not have that mandate to sign a bilateral agreement. So in the case po of JICA, that is under the agreement between the Philippine government, yung GATC po between Philippines and Japan. Doon po nakapasok yung engagement ng deployment ng volunteers. In the case of Peace Corps, that the agreement was signed with DFA. PNVSA po ang implementing agency. Sa case po ng Australian program, the agreement was signed by NEDA. PNVSA po ang implementing agency.
Actually, if it's a government bilateral agreement, then they'll refer it not to you after they've signed it or
Yes, ma'am.
something. And then kayo magko-coordinate to the other organizations, local organizations and LGUs maybe to place if there's a request from them.
Mhm.
And then you guarantee also that, I mean, the safety. I mean, you also tell them if it's an area you advise them
Yes
to
po.
avoid, mga
Kasama po
ganyan.
yan. Although they have their own processes and safety checks of the site. So there's a joint, we call it site validation that we do among the placements of where the volunteers would be placed. We also subject non-government institutions who are requesting or volunteers to security checks po.
Okay.
Including the volunteers who are coming in. We also do security checks on individual volunteers through NICA po.
Okay. Well, through NICA? Okay. So meron security factor o
For
background
both
check.
organizations and the volunteers.
Okay. But if it's, let's say, a small organization, let's say a group of doctors, Phil-American doctors will come here and they'll just do an outreach. Hindi na kailangan ng ano
Sa DOH po yan, ma'am. Meron pong process ang DOH in engaging mga medical missions. And for disaster po, may PHAC, also led by DFA.
hindi sila basta-basta pwedeng mag-conduct ng outreach?
May proseso po ang DOH, hindi po sa PNVSA dumadaan.
Okay. No, pero sir, you wanted to add something?
I think you're asking a very important question, Madam Chair, because the practice of profession is an issue usually in this one. Like there are many professional spouses of ADB personnel, for example, who would like to volunteer to this service provide, but they could not do that because of the practice of profession issue in the country.
Other countries that way?
I think we are quite strict on the practice of profession as stipulated in our constitution. In fact, when we were going through this whole process of amending the constitution, the restrictive provisions of the constitution, that's one of the things that we would wanted to sana ma-relax kasi sayang yung mga resources that are otherwise there. And then also we cannot attract professionals to come to the Philippines. For example, we should have been all these foreign universities coming to Asia. They go to Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam. They could not come to the Philippines because of very
I couldn't.
provision.
When we did the Public Service Act, we didn't actually revise the Constitution. We just crafted out certain things to clarify the definition. So there's certain provisions talaga that are clear that we cannot change, like academic institutions, di ba? Am I correct, di ba? Otherwise, lahat yan binuksan ko na eh. Kaso we have to remain nga what is a public service and what is a public utility. Hanggang dun lang talaga yung ating pwedeng ma-interpret dun sa Constitution without actually revising the Constitution. It was very difficult. Senator Vilon had to help me because he's more of the legal expert. But the sad reality is, sa bansa natin, tutulong ka na lang, pahihirapan ka rin. Pahirapan ka pa eh, di ba? Pero, alam mo, kahit dito sa Senate, for example, lahat ng mga gagastusin mo, for example, ganyan kakakapal na mga resibo, syempre kailangan yan para madetalye, di ba? Kung sa pagkain yan, to serve it to guests, all of that is with the receipt. Now, the sad thing is, in our country, kahit na ganyan pa rin, sobrang nalulusutan pa rin tayo dito sa mga, di ba? Our laws are so stringent at times, and yet it's still circumvented. And that's really basically because of a question of how strong our institutions are, how committed our public servants are. Okay. So anyway, meron pa. Wala. Okay. So, with that, walang nagpasabi. For the record, wala namang nagpasabi na hahabol, di ba? Huh? Okay, then with that, I think the senators will have their chance to ask questions in plenary. So the budget of the National Economic and Development Authority and attached agencies is now deemed submitted, meaning hindi pa approved. Okay, deemed submitted, and this hearing is now suspended. We do that so that we can have hearings again and again, and we don't have to have all the quorum here. Okay, thank you very much and for joining us.
Thank you very much, ma'am.